Catch up on the conversation. Listen via the BBC Sounds app.
Mornings with Kaye Adams on BBC Radio Scotland.
Now, the comedian Matt Lucas has been talking, or should I say tweeting, about being thin-shamed, as he put it, for the very first time. He has lost a little bit of weight through choice, I believe, and he was out about the weekend, and a stranger came up and volunteered that he was looking old because of his weight loss, and was not particularly complimentary. So why is it that we feel able, or some people feel able, to speak to people personally about weight loss in a way that perhaps we're more sensitive when we're talking about weight gain? Though I guess that's a moot point too. Comedian Dave Chawner is with me this morning. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. And also Dr. Frankie Phillips is a dietitian from the British Dietetic Association. Good morning to you, Frankie.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. Dave, I believe you kind of related to this story on a level, yeah?
I think it's really interesting because I have a history of eating disorders, and one of the things that's really interesting for me is that people always associate losing weight with being good and putting on weight with being bad, but this is kind of a twist of that narrative now, that people are sort of saying, oh, God, you've lost weight, you look bad. It was just a football match, and he's been trying to lose a little bit of weight because he was told by his doctors he was potentially going to get diabetes. And it's like, who are you? This random woman coming up to him going, you look terrible. You're like, well, thanks for that. I was just trying to watch the Arsenal match, but now you've made me feel paranoid.
Yeah, I mean, have you felt that people have, made comment about your weight when you haven't invited it?
I think it's not uncommon for people to be uncomfortable with their body shape, with social media, with societal pressures. And to be honest, without being a proper snowflake about it, I actually think a lot of the time it doesn't really matter what your body shape is like. When you're talking to a colleague, an office worker, a mate, are you their friend because of their body weight? Probably not.
No, but I mean, I guess a lot of it is people who perhaps would want to lose weight themselves for whatever reason, and might look at you, of a slim stature, and you'll get you're lucky. Now, they don't know, as you say, what's going on in your life. You might not be feeling particularly lucky, but you'll be told that you are.
Yeah, I once got someone, when I told them that I had been diagnosed as severely clinically anorexic, they said, can you give me some diet tips? And I did have to sort of try and explain that, like, it is a diagnosable mental illness. It's not an aesthetic. And I think it's great to have these conversations, because I don't want to be a sniffy snob and say, oh, people need to understand these things innately. Obviously, part of talking about this is what is going to help educate and entertain people. And I also think it's really important to say as well, Matt Lucas, the way he did it was actually not from a place of acerbicness. He actually was quite jokey about it on Twitter, which I think is a brilliant approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And we should say that, actually, in fairness to Matt Lucas. As you say, it was a very good-natured comment that he made. He wasn't taking huge umbrage. But nonetheless, I think it was probably worthwhile pointing it out, because, I mean, Frankie, Dave has been honest enough to say that he's had a history of eating disorders, so he will have a particular set of issues going on for him. But it extends almost to anyone who is perceived by the third party as being either too thin or thin in a way that they want to be thin, and so then they'll make comment.
Yeah, I think that we need to be careful, don't we, about making comments on how people look in any respect, whether we're looking at their faces, their hair, their body. I think some people have got real sensitivities about how they look, and people's comments might not always be welcome. I think if you've got people around who are trying to lose some weight for their health and are going about it in a sensible and measured and balanced manner, then perhaps, giving them support and say, you're looking really healthy, rather than saying you're looking like you've lost weight. But also, as Dave was saying, for some people, actually, being very thin is uncomfortable for them. They might feel really uncomfortable about getting comments about this. And it might be, as Dave was saying, about eating disorders. But also there are some clinical conditions as well where people can lose a lot of weight very quickly. And for health reasons, they might not want to lose all of that weight. And they're certainly not somebody who should be seen as being lucky that they are underweight or looking extremely thin. You know, their body might be suffering some kind of crisis, and they might be having a medical condition that means that they are losing weight, but unintentionally so. And I think if ever anybody is losing weight without trying, whether you're very overweight or you know, kind of a normal weight, so to speak, it's something to go and have a chat with your doctor about, because unintentional weight loss can actually be quite a serious marker of illness.
Well, there was that, you know, very unfortunate time when Chadwick Boseman, the actor, who sadly died as a result of cancer, but there was a period before his diagnosis was known that people were freely commenting about his weight loss.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, one of the side effects actually of lots of types of cancer is that the body you will lose weight, and obviously it's not a healthy way of losing weight. Even if you're trying to eat normally, your body's kind of like using up all of that energy, effectively in feeding the cancer, and that's why, you know, your body might not be absorbing the nutrients if you've got some kind of bowel cancer. So that there can actually be, you know, some really serious issues around weight loss that need further investigation for people.
I mean, David, aside from the impact on individuals, and, you know, obviously everyone's got their own story, on a broader level, you know, it just kind of re-emphasises this general feeling: slim equals good, overweight equals bad.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that's why we're trying to work to take that barrier down, that BMI is actually different for different people, different ethnicities, different ideas. And we're trying to break that mold of this is your ideal person. Everyone has a different body. Everyone has a different comfortable weight.
Yeah. And what is the variation on that, Frankie, from your point of view as a dietitian?
I mean, BMI, body mass index, is quite a useful marker for being in a healthy weight range. And the important word there is range. You know, you don't have to be a specific number to be healthy. So, for example, I'm about 5 foot, just over 5 foot, and my healthy weight could be anything between about 7.5 stone and just over 9 stone. So that's quite a range for me to be healthy. And I think people need to be aware of that. Yes, you know, you can be healthy at any size. There are risks of being very overweight, and we need to address those as well, because it's not simply about the aesthetic of your, you know, how you look when you're a certain weight. Actually, you know, if you are very overweight, and certainly with Matt Lucas, his risk for diabetes was higher because he was quite overweight. And if you've got a family history as well, then trying to lose a bit of weight, if you are over, you know, your BMI is very high, you're obese, you're very overweight, certainly losing some weight can reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes. So it is really important to try and aim to be a healthy weight, but healthy weight can be a wide range of things. And even if you are overweight, you can still be healthy. Being more active and having a healthy, balanced diet actually is relevant for everybody, whatever weight you are.
Yeah, and I think we can probably all agree that the comments of a random stranger who just decides to approach you and give you some kind of opinion as to whether or not your weight is appropriate or not probably doesn't work. Dave, thank you very much indeed. Nice to speak to you this morning, and thanks very much also to Dr. Frankie Phillips, a dietitian from the British Dietetic Association.
BBC Radio Scotland.